Hello and welcome to Awakened Entrepreneur Evolution. In this podcast, you will discover how to co-create success in your business by aligning mind, body, and soul. Tune in each week to hear unconventional ways to build your business by focusing on sales and marketing energetics, mixing the woo and the do to enroll more clients, transform more lives, and create the ripple effect you know you are here to make. The traditional approach hasn't resonated with you because it is not meant for you. You've simply evolved past it. The energy is shifting. Old bro tactics and strategies are not working anymore. And you know there is a more aligned, more authentic, and far more impactful approach for you. Join me, Jana Niksa, the Authentic Sales Coach, and a special guest each week as I discover how they co-created their multi-6 and 7-figure businesses by taking inspired action and cultivating success from the inside out. Let's transcend the traditional together to massively uplevel your business and to live your purpose on purpose. Welcome back to Awakened Entrepreneur Evolution. My guest today is going to be such a treat to talk to. Andrea Tamas is a conscious money and breathwork coach, healer, and the creator of transformational experiences that awaken women into their power, purpose, and prosperity. After living in Tahoe for 9 years, she spent the last 3 years traveling the world. Oh, man, one day. Training with master teachers in India, Bali, and Thailand. Her work blends energy healing, nervous system regulation, trauma release, breath work, and feminine leadership. Andrea is known for guiding women into deep emotional alchemy and embodied transformation where money, love, and leadership meet the soul. Talk about meeting the soul, baby. That is just like all music, like just candy for my soul. How are you?
I'm amazing, and I'm so excited to be here with you and have a beautiful, soulful, authentic conversation.
Yes. Well, it's so funny because it's been a minute since I've recorded one of these because months ago I reached out in some groups I had a list of forever and ever long. And so it's so nice to be doing this because it's been a minute. So I'm really excited to have this conversation because I haven't for a while there. It was like a lot. And now I'm like hungry for it again. Because and not to mention how much has just changed, right now as we're recording this, it's summer of 2025, end of summer, right? And the energies and everything, and talk about like alchemizing. I would love to get your take on this. Like so much right now is, I believe, and I felt it in my own life, like just coming up because we're kind of going in from that cocoon, like into that butterfly phase. Maybe not for everybody, but certainly for those of us that are on that journey right now. So I'd love to hear like how's the energy been treating you lately, Andrea?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It has been so intense for me. And it came with the Lionsgate portal. And I was like, I don't know what's happening, but I went through so many emotions and energies, and I felt like I'm gonna just kill my partner, that I cannot stand everyone, and how like I don't know what's happening. Plus that I have been going through this very big transition in my life because now I returned to Tahoe after almost 3 years to decide what am I going to do next, if I'm going to sell my home that I own here or if I'm going to continue keeping it. And it was such a big decision, and it took me a month after I arrived here to make a decision, and I finally made it, and I decided to put my house on the market. And I realized through that process, I was like, wow, this whole thing is not even about the house. It's not about the money. It's truly about all of the processes, the emotions, the mindset that I go through to arrive to a decision. And this is just owning this house is just like a catalyst for my growth. Like it's nothing else. Like owning things, it's nothing else than an opportunity for our expansion.
Yes. I completely agree. We always think, did you ever see the movie The Breakup? Like way back when? So it's Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston, like circa maybe 2000.
Yes, I'm pretty sure I did.
And it's like, she's like, it's not about the lemons. We think it's about they're having this massive fight because he forgot to get the lemons. And he's like, I wish everybody had their own little private bag of lemons. And she's, it's not about the lemons. And the point is, like, so much of what we think it's about, it's not.
Yeah.
Right? You think it's like the decision in the house, but it's really like the alchemization of like what that house means to you and what it will mean to you not without the house. And like it's just such a deeper piece. And we think that just comes up in like arguments and fights with your significant other, right? Because it's always not about the lemons, right? But it's the same for everything, even owning a business, which is one of the biggest reasons I started this podcast, was like, what are we really doing here? I mean, I don't think it's an accident that anybody that wakes up consciously, anybody that does some of the healing work or a lot of the healing work, almost always their next thing is like, how do I turn around and how do I give this back? You know what I mean? And how do I create a business around this? And I think it's because it's like, once your soul, I'd love to hear your take on this, but like once your soul wakes up and says yes and starts doing some of this and asking for more, I think God, source goes, you should start a business then. I'll show you how to alchemize everything you got.
Oh my God. Oh, 100%. Like I had my spiritual awakening 10 years ago, here in you too, yeah, here in US. And slowly after that, I started on this path of personal development and healing, which I had no idea about. And I remember I was in the office job and listening to a podcast, and that guy became my mentor eventually. But he said in the podcast, he said, if you really want personal development on steroids, then start your business. And I swear to you that phrase itself, I was like, I'm ready for personal development on steroids. I'm done to just like learn courses and read books here and there. I'm like, I want to go deep. And that's part of what made me like, I want to start my business, besides the fact that when we awaken, as you said, is just this deep desire of like, oh my God, I want everyone to know what is possible. Yes. I want everyone to wake up, everyone to know that our possibilities are endless out there.
So true. And that really is it. And it's so funny, like almost all of my clients in one way or another, they're like, Jana, what I really want to do is just help people step into who they are, or, realize there's so many different ways to say it, right? But there's always some version of to step into their full potential. And it's so funny because it's just yet one more nod to how we're all connected. Because why else would you want that for everybody else unless you knew it was all one,
Yeah.
And it's like there's that calling. It's like I don't care if it's my worst enemy, my best friend, or a stranger on the street. Like everybody needs this. It's like all that crazy egoic judge stuff, not for good, but in this case kind of goes out the window. And it's like, I need everybody. I want everybody to have this.
Yeah, and it's how I look at it, because the world, we are all interconnected, and whoever we get to meet outside of us, they are just a mirror. Yes. They are mirroring back to us who we are, and they give us an opportunity for us to get to know ourselves from the outside. And when we desire to help people, it's like I desire to help all these parts of me.
Yes. Yes. And so it's such a trippy thing, right? Because it's like, I don't know, are you familiar with Peter Crone by chance?
No.
It's so funny because we think like our spiritual people that we watch, like everybody knows them. Like I get in the real world, I'm like, and you know, I'm like, do you know who Russell Brunson is? And they're like, no, not that I'm like in his stuff or anything, but you know, it's like, you don't? Like, wow.
What?
Okay. But you know, Peter Crone says, you know, the universe will present you with people, situations, and circumstances to reveal to you where you're not free.
Yeah.
And it's just so beautiful because it's all connected and it's just being shown back to us. And there's no better way to do that than a business. And what I love about this podcast and talking to conscious entrepreneurs like you is there's this old model of like, you just got to work really hard. Like well, there's a couple of old models. There's the old matrix model that a lot of my generation fell for, which was like, just do really good in school and then go to college and do really well there. And then go get this job and make somebody else rich and find your partner and happily ever after. Well, it turns out
the blueprint. Now the blueprint.
Yeah, I took the blueprint. I took it all the way to the very end and realized that was not it. Spoiler alert for anybody. Probably not listening to this podcast if you're still caught up in that. No judgment. I think for some people, it isn't about starting a business potentially. You know, it could be being a mom. And you know what I mean? Like we all have our different callings and whatever it may be, but what this new blueprint and what I like to bring to light on this podcast, and I can't wait to hear your story, is this notion of it isn't just about hustle and grind. If it feels weird, if it feels off, if it compromises your integrity, listen to that. Your soul isn't going to lie to you. Careful there, because sometimes misalignment is very much just discomfort. And those are different. Don't hide behind your spirituality, but like really understanding. I love, there's another guy that I don't follow him as much, but I still like him a lot. Phil Good is his name. Of course, that's not his real name, but you know, he put out something and every so often I release this little quote and it's like, it's going to take you longer. It's okay that it's going to take you longer. You're just not willing to compromise who you are to get there. And so that was sort of the seed of this whole podcast. It's like, I want to hear your story.
Yeah.
Because I think it gives other people permission and validation that, you know, the reason that stuff, and it's woo and do, baby, all the way. Don't get it twisted. However, you know, the reason some of these things don't fit, like the sales model that most people teach, for example, is because you've consciously evolved past it.
Yeah.
And so I would love to hear a little bit more about what made you this, you know, spiritual teacher that you are today.
Yeah. So when I started my business back in 2019, I knew nothing about it. Yeah. So it's like a fresh new baby going into the online world and just trying to figure things out. And honestly, it's a wild world. Like I've invested, like, because I had no idea, at the beginning. And when you are a newbie and so on, I was investing a lot in these like bro marketers and in these promises of like make 10K a month and you know all of these things because I'm like, oh, they have the answer. So I went a lot with that at the beginning and I was working very hard and pushing very hard and doing strategies that I was like, oh, doesn't feel good, you know, is it really this way? And I was like, started questioning it. But I'm like, that's what they're teaching me. And I want to be a good student. I want to be a good student. So I'm going to go with it because at that time, I didn't really know how to listen to my intuition. I was not as connected, you know, with myself and with my intuition. So I just constantly, I was giving my power away on the outside. I was like, oh, they know better. Like they are successful. They know better than me. And after that, I went through a very big, again, like change and transition in my life, where my life partner at the time got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Mhm.
And it was like very sudden, very abrupt. And in that moment, I decided to pause my business to take care of him because I was the only caregiver. And throughout that process, I got to learn how to connect more with my feminine, because I I was there to nourish him, to support him, to hold him. And I just connected. I did Reiki. I remember doing Reiki in order to be able to heal him, to do Reiki on him. I went and I've studied Akashic records because I felt the calling. And I just started slowly throughout that process to do all of these other practices while not working on my business, while my business being paused. And afterwards, eventually my partner transitioned on the other side. And that's when I started traveling the world as my healing journey.
Mm.
And I couldn't work for at least 1 year. I had like no energy, no motivation, no zest. I was just so depleted overall. But then when I eventually came back slowly, I was like, I don't want to do things the same. I don't want to work again 10, 12 hours, like sending DMs to people and just trying to force and achieve something through just doing and working hard and hustling. There has to be a different way. So through everything that I have learned in that process with my partner and me making the conscious decision that there has to be a different way, it's when I opened myself up to something else. And I got to realize that first is the energy, like how do I feel when I do something? And of course, they are both connected. I would say the being and doing, they are connected.
Mhm.
But it's very important how I feel and who am I being when I take that action.
Yes. Because I love that. And it took me, I've been on this spiritual journey, I guess now I say 10 years, but it's now been 12 years
Mm.
of unraveling this whole thing. And it was really difficult because as a recovering hustler, like
Mm-hmm.
action taker, let me clarify.
Yeah.
Um,
Same, same.
like I think that's one of the biggest beautiful things about being in business. If you're in it long enough, eventually it will reveal to you that you can't do it that way. You will burn out. You will just be sitting around with your hand like, what am I missing? Like, what am I doing? Like, how is it? I don't understand. And I think it's equally, I talk about it with my clients. Like some of them are freeze people. Like we have these different ways we respond to fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have like fight, flight, fawn, freeze, and it's not that it's different, but the freeze people actually do need to move. And then
Mm.
the action people need to slow down to go faster,
Yeah.
and really knowing who you are in that and recognizing that. And it's scary.
So
Like to
scary.
go, screw it. My hat is like, screw it. I'm taking this time and really being able to like alchemize that voice in your head that I'm sure was quite loud
Very.
around, what are you doing? I can't believe this. You're just throwing it all away. You're a lazy bum. Like I don't want to put I don't
Mhm.
want to put, like voices
And the
of your
guilt.
head. You know what I'm
And the
saying? Like,
guilt. Yeah.
so how did you during that time, how were you able to just continue? Because
Mm.
even to this day, like I know all of this. I even feel like I embody a lot of this, but it's still, you know, a little bit difficult at
Yeah.
times to just, let go and release. So I'd love
Mm.
to hear, like, how are you able to do that, and
Oh.
how do you continue to do it?
Oh my gosh. It's I would say it's an ongoing process.
Yes,
Yes, I wish I would tell people do this one thing and that's it.
I
No.
love that you say that, though. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's an ongoing process, and it's the same with our healing, our growth. It's not that we're gonna, because I did have this false illusion when I started that, oh, I'm doing this energy healing, oh, I'm working with this coach, they're gonna give
I'm
me
gonna
the
get
magic
there.
pill,
I've got a
and
place.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
arrive, and that's it, I'm successful. Bullshit. Bullshit, and it's all an illusion. So first, it's really getting to the acceptance that it's a moment by moment experience where we get to choose in every single moment what is it that we want to focus on, what is it that we choose to believe in that moment, and not focusing, oh, but in the past I did that, or in the future if I'm going to do that. No, no, no. Bring yourself into the present moment. That's how you learn, you train your body, you train your mind to let go of control and lean deeper into the trust that it's all working out for you, and that no matter what is happening and how things are unfolding, it's happening for your highest good.
So, I talk about this kind of stuff with my clients a lot. And I love that you're about the action of it. Because I think, there's a couple things that I think are misconceptions, at least they were for me. I won't speak for everyone. One was like, and I woke up, the end. You know what I mean? Like the end. Like, and I thought that too, like, what's wrong with me that I'm still having road rage? Or what's wrong with me? I'm spiritual now. Like, well, I know better than this. And
Yeah.
that's crap. And then the other thing that I actually did for quite some time is I would meditate, like I've been doing that for a very long time. And I see this with my clients, which is why I'm bringing it up. It's like, well, I'm doing the healing. And I'm like, but it's the healing is important, but it's the choice point. When you're confronted with the thing, that's where the real alchemization happens. The healing just gives you the leg up, so to speak, or the awareness or the choice point.
Yeah.
But you still, yes, I've had some healings where the choice point is totally gone, but mostly you're still going to be confronted and you have to choose. You have the ability now to choose higher. It's not, I'm healed from this thing, I'm never going to have to think about it ever. No, chances are you're going to be flooded with it. And you have, so what do you think is going on there with that? Like, why do some people think that they're just going to heal their way to success, and that's all done kind of like passively, on their meditation pillow? Whereas I found it quite an active, like every second of every moment process.
Yeah, I think it's a lot also of, like, let's say maybe a lot of people started with The Secret. Yes. Which a very big piece on The Secret was missing, which was the action, and also like the taking responsibility for where you are and where you are going. And it created this illusion of like, if you're just gonna visualize, meditate, and that's it, and sit on the pillow, it's gonna come, and you're just gonna attract it with your vibration. Which, yes, our vibration, it's very important, I'm all about it, but we are in a co-creation with the universe. So we do the meditation, we do the healing to align ourselves with the most aligned action, to take the action that is in our alignment. And then when we take the action, it's like we take the step and we tell the universe, yes, I want this, yes, I'm ready for this. And then the universe also takes a step and said, amazing, here are the opportunities, here are the people, here are all the things that you need, but you need to act, not to just visualize and dream about it. And when we act, no matter what type of action you take, because I know at the beginning, for example, I was a little bit paralyzed by it. I was like, but I don't want to make the wrong step. I don't want to make the wrong action, and I'm afraid. What if I'm gonna embarrass myself and fail and blah blah blah? And my mentor again said that if you are too much in your head and you're not clear, for example, even on the action, what action to take, because a lot of people say, but I don't know what to do, then just take any step, because the clarity comes with action.
Oh, you are speaking my language. That is so, they want it figured out. Yeah, I often tell them the GPS example, right? Like the GPS, you don't get in it and put in your thing and it's like, okay, so you're going to go and you're going to take a left here and then you're going to go a mile and you're going to take a left there and then you're going to, like, it doesn't do that, right? It just gives you the next move.
Yes.
And it's really, people, listen, anybody that's like, I'm not clear. The only reason you're not clear is because you think you're not clear. And if you just take the next right action, which I will ask this question, Andrea, to my clients all the time. I'm like, if I gave you $1 million, would you tell me that you know what the next action is? They're like, I do. They always do.
Yeah.
They always do. And so it's, you do too, but stop saying you don't, because you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the next turn will reveal itself from there.
Exactly. And that's where I also see a lot of my clients who deal with perfectionism, which is like, but I'm not clear. Like, for example, I'm not clear on the whole vision, or I'm not clear on all of the steps, and therefore I'm not going to take any step.
Yep.
And like, amazing, then you are just going to stay where you are.
Yep. And
that's what is going to happen.
It really is. I learned from Jack Canfield years ago and did like some of his like certification stuff, and so many of his beautiful things stuck with me. He is just such a gift. And one of them is, now I just forgot what it was. Like, one was the slow down to go faster. And then you said something that reminded me of another one that I often use. But and clarity comes in it with action is another one. It'll come back to me if it's meant to. But just understanding, I think the biggest issue, and I'd love to hear, I haven't mentioned this on the podcast, but I've really gotten into Kabbalah lately.
Me too.
I think that was you and I, because little backstory for those of you that are like, how do we know each other? Like, we were speaking at an event, and I knew somebody was talking about Kabbalah, and it's really helped, not from a religious, I'm not trying to convert anybody to anything. That's not the point, but it's really helped me frame these things with, like, it's kind of like the rules of the game a little bit. And so it helps me understand and put a little context to, why it isn't. Why don't we see the whole map? Well, it's because Jack Canfield says you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like, you don't expand inside your comfort zone. And how fun would it be if it was like, Jana, in 6 months you're going to do this, in 3 years you're going to do that, in 5 years you're going to, like, that's not, we wouldn't even play the video game if it's like, here's, we don't even go, okay, I'm going to shut up after this. But it just reminded me, like, my daughter, my poor freaking daughter, she's reading this mystery book and she's like in it. And she's not like usually a big reader. So I'm like, yes, this is awesome. Like, she even read it out loud to me. And some dude at school, she's in 8th grade, basically just told her everything that happened.
Oh.
And she stopped reading it.
Oh.
So, but why did she stop reading it, Andrea? Even though it's like, because now you know.
Yeah, and then there's no
mystery. There's no motivation. And so everybody's like, I need to know it. And it's like, do you know?
No.
Do you need to know how the book ends?
Yeah. Yeah. So it takes me to really get so freaking excited about the unknown.
Yes.
About the unknown, and being like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And I wonder what's gonna happen next, and treat your life as a book, as a movie, and be like, oh my God, I'm like in this chapter, in this season, and now I have no idea what's coming next in this next season, but I'm so excited to discover it. And I just know, like, also bring in that knowing that I just know from here, it's only going to get better.
Yeah. It's all going to work out. Because you designed it anyway.
Yes.
Hello. And I don't mean that to minimize, because it can be hard. I've had friends that have lost children. I've had friends that have lost, you lost one of your close loved ones, right? And it doesn't mean it's not hard, but ultimately it's all happening for you in the highest good.
Yeah. And I would say even releasing this illusion that life is meant to be easy.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
I think that's something else that the spiritual community really gets sort of, it's not all love and light. And then if you're not all in love and light, then you think you're doing it wrong, which is really sad and also ridiculous, because you don't do it wrong. But if you have expectations, and I think people do this in their business as well, of like, well, if I'm at the right frequency, then that means everything's going to work out. Like, it's all love and light. So I'd love to hear, like, what is your take on all of that? Because it can feel like, if it's not love and light, or if I have a challenge, then I'm doing it wrong or I'm failing.
Yeah. So this one takes me to understanding that we do live here on the earth, where we are going to experience the duality of things. Like, I'm a believer in duality. I've experienced it my whole life. And when we come to the understanding and acceptance that there is this duality, yes, however you want to call it, good and bad, like within ourselves, it can be like our ego and our higher self. Like, we all have it within ourselves, and then it's out there in the world. And when we get to this acceptance and be like, okay, I have it, everyone else has it, and it is out there, the good and the bad, however you want to name it, then you are also going to be able to accept it, to like see it, instead of living in a false reality, which I also can see it can happen a lot in the spiritual communities. As you said, you see it, you acknowledge it, and be like, okay, this exists, I see it and I accept it. Because when you see it outside and you accept it, that means you also get to the point of accepting it within yourself. Because so many times you feel the guilt, the shame, and all of those lower emotions within yourself, is because you repressed also those sides, and you're like, you made them wrong, and be like, no, I shouldn't feel this way. So you make your ego, for example, you make it wrong, instead of befriending it, instead of being like, okay, let's partner, I see what you're saying, I hear you out, let's see how we can partner up and we can work together.
Ooh, can I ask you a question about the ego really quick? Because I do admittingly have, I don't want to say I'll say a love, not even love, like a like-dislike relationship with my ego. Because sometimes I think it is there to support maybe, something that's true. But other times, and I'll give you an example. Oh, I don't know if I want to say this on the air. It was my daughter. Well, I'll just, her ego, watching it just beat her. You just rip her up. And nothing that she was saying was true. You know what I mean? Like, it was catastrophizing. And so it's like, how do you know when your ego is really there, that it's like, no, you probably need to look at this, like this, versus when I think it's just, like piling on you. It almost feels like sometimes like, my dad used to sing like this old song, I guess. I don't even, it's like, nobody likes me, everybody hates me, guess I'll go eat worms. And it's just like a way of like that pity party that your ego will have with you if you're game.
Putting you down.
Like sometimes I think the ego's like, no, and I don't mean just the type, or like, we know that ego's serving us, but keeping it safe. Sometimes it's like, no, Jana, I think you should actually, revisit this conversation with a client, or no, Jana, and it's actually trying to help. I know it's ultimately always trying to help, but sometimes it really does feel like that bad wolf is just in there, like just Going
Yeah,
crazy. So how do you know? Hopefully
amazing.
I'm getting it out right. I'm trying, but it's
Yeah. So I'm going to share something with you and the audience that I have learned from Sonia Shaker, I think, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, where she was talking about going the higher self. And what she was describing there was like this, that your ego, the problem with the ego is when we let it to be on the driving seat, when we put it on the throne and be like, okay, ego, you are the one that makes the decisions. You are the one that's in charge. Where in fact, our ego, it's there to take orders. It's there to take directions from us. And she was describing this beautiful concept of your look at your ego, for example, if for you works as your barking dog. And your barking dog, it's not going to come to you and be like, now we need to eat this. Now we need to do this. Now, this is what you should believe about yourself. This is what you should say about yourself. No, no, no. Your barking dog, it's right there on the side. On, like, for me, I see it on my right side. And I even gave it the name of Lucky. That's my ego. That's my barking dog. And it's there to just take directions for my higher self, which is in charge, which is on the throne, on the driving seat. So every time when that voice comes that, oh, you're not good enough, you didn't do good enough, and when it's like defeating and it's putting you down, that's your ego. And what happened is that you put it by mistake on the driving seat. So then is to remember, okay, something happened here, a mistake happened. The roles got switched. Let me put you back into your seat and let me tell you what you can do. And I would say this is how we co-create with our ego.
I love that. So I'm reminded of something I remember. Brene Brown, I think, was the one that like it gets a seat at the table, but it doesn't get to lead the conversation.
Exactly.
I love
Yes.
that. I love that so much. Well, I want to know, like, tell me a little bit more about what you do and how you bring all this beautiful stuff we've been talking about. Like, how do you serve your clients?
Yes. So I'm a conscious money, as you shared at the beginning, conscious money and breathwork coach and facilitator and energy healer. And what I do a blend of like working one-on-one and in groups with people. I have different programs running out. And when I work with people one-on-one, my whole idea is truly to help them find this beautiful flow with money of the in and out of truly like healing and feeling empowered by money, by whatever prosperity and abundance means to them, and help them define and live in authenticity with that. And I do that through coaching and breath work, because breath work has been so transformational for my journey. I have discovered it in India. I got trained in India. And ever since, I truly have seen how that modality has like taken over me. And I'm like just this vessel through which this modality wants to come through, because how it comes through, it's, I would say, very unique. It comes through like energy healing, through channeling, and really like taking people through very unique journeys, I would say.
Well, I love that. And I love that there's so many different ways you approach it, because we're all, even though we're all one in many ways, we also have different, things that are our strengths and weaknesses and what we respond to more than others. Like we're all unique.
Yes.
It's and we're all one and we're all different.
Exactly.
And so I love that. And, I guess my one final question that I like to ask my guests is, well, no, I want to back up. I know I'll make it brief, but what do you think is the biggest challenge that people have around money? And what is keeping them blocked? And is that even a fair question to ask? because it's probably
Of course, I'm
if
going to
you
say
had to
very.
offer them like one thing that's like this is something, what would it be?
Mhm. Yeah, of course, it's very individualistic, but I would say overall is truly believing in scarcity,
Mm.
believing more in scarcity than in abundance, believing that there is not enough to go around, that if that person has, then I'm not going to have. Or I would say that's one of the biggest things. And not believing also that there is possible for them to be abundant, like the belief in this is possible for me.
Yes, I think it's so important that we have to change our relationship with what we think we are. You're not like, I hope there's enough air.
Yeah,
I hope there's enough
exactly.
sunshine, and can we see money in that same light, because it's an energy just like that.
Yes.
And I love that. So I know you brought the audience a gift. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yes, so it is specifically for women and it's called Pleasure Pays. It's a mini course with a super powerful breathwork activation that I would love to share with your audience. And I am going to share a coupon code with you so they
Awesome.
can access it for free.
That's amazing. Okay. So I want you guys to connect with Andrea. All of her information will be in the show notes. And I just really, really appreciate you being here. I love having this conversation, especially in this accelerated energy that we're in.
Yes.
Any final words of wisdom that you would like to leave with my audience?
Mm. Yes, I would love to share something from what I've experienced and embodied right now in this season of my life, that being neutral with your energy in what you are doing, no matter what it is that you are doing, I would say it's one of the keys to alignment and success, because you are not attached for the outcome to be in any certain way. And when you are neutral, you just go and you move with this full trust that no matter which one is the outcome, it's the perfect outcome for me. It's exactly what I need.
That is so true. And, for those that are like, well, how? It's a choice you make every second.
Yes.
It's a reminded choice you make every second. It's not
Mhm.
you forget and then you make it again. And it's
Yes.
a practice, not a perfect, but it
Yeah.
is where all the freedom lies, is
Yeah.
is in this idea that it is all have. I don't know better than God or my higher self, and that I surrender and trust. And I
Mhm.
can choose that even when it's scary. I
Yeah.
love that so much.
Mm.
Andrea, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
Such a
Thank you,
pleasure.
Jana. And thank you everyone for tuning in and
Yeah,
listening.
and that's exactly what I was. Thank you all so much for listening to this. I hope you really grabbed some golden nuggets here. There was a lot of things we discussed. I'd love to know in the comments, if you're watching this on YouTube, like what struck you the most. And we will see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
So much for listening, and I have an amazing gift for you. If you are ready to hit those 10K, 20K, 50K months and beyond, I created a next level you meditation so that you can take action and embody your higher self each day to quantum leap your business. Please listen up. Review this podcast, screenshot the review, and share it on social, and tag me, the Authentic Sales Coach, on either Facebook or IG. And I will send you this special gift as a massive thank you.